Hey guys, what's cracking? It is Krakenation, and today we're going to be coming at you guys with a new video. So, as you guys may or may not have heard, with Pokemon Sword and Shield, Mega Evolutions are officially rotating out of the handheld games, at least for the time being, but for the foreseeable future, they are no longer a thing. They will still be a thing in Showdown, though, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to see how that shakes out, but for now, they're not a thing. So, with that in mind, I wanted to make a video talking about what were my top five favorite Megas. I was a really huge fan of Mega Evolutions. I haven't been a fan of Z moves. I'm not really sold on Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing yet. But Mega Evolution and all these like Galarian and Alolan forms, these kind of new interpretations of old and existing Pokemon were things that I was a huge fan of. So I loved Mega Evolutions. I thought they were really cool. So I wanted to make this list and talk about what my top five favorite were. So keep in mind, this is my top five, not necessarily yours. So this is going to be a subjective list. It's going to be based a little bit on my personal experience using these Pokemon in draft format and like the Smogon competitive scene, as well as how competitively viable they are will be kind of factored in. It's not the only thing, otherwise I would have called this the top 5 best Megas, and it would have been like number 1 Mega Gengar or something, you know, or Mega Rayquaza, and like that's not exactly what I'm doing here. I want to talk about what were my favorite ones to use and play with, and the just general experience I have with them, and also so with that comes my own personal bias in this. But before I get into this video, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment below talking about what your 5 favorite Megas are. And if you think there's something I left off this list as I'm going through, make sure to leave a comment telling me what Mega you think I should have included on this list. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So coming in at number 5, we've got Mega Garchomp. I drafted Mega Garchomp, I think it was season 9? 8, 7. I drafted it once upon a time in the CSL, and it was a really fun Pokemon. It gets slept on. It definitely is not as good potentially at some things. It's not as very versatile as regular Garchomp is. I realize that because of that speed drop, people are really turned off it. But once you get past that and you look at the other things it can do, Mega Garchomp is a really, really cool Pokemon. It's really rare that you have a Pokemon that can hit that special and physical side. It's got access to Earthquake and Earth Power, so you've got those reliable moves. It's got Draco Meteor and Flamethrower, so it's not like it has an unusable special move pool. It's got a very usable special move pool coming off at 120 special attack stat. 92 speed obviously is not as good as 102, but it's still usable, and it's got great bulk. I really liked Mega Garchomp. I wish it got a better ability. This is kind of the honorable mention of the list. I really like Garchomp in general. It's one of my favorite Pokemon itself, so I really wanted to shout out to Mega Garchomp, Pokemon that I have enjoyed using. At some point, albeit maybe not as good as regular Garchomp, and maybe I don't even like it as much as regular Garchomp, but that's because Garchomp's one of my favorites. But I definitely think it deserves a shout out for being a really good Pokemon. Bulky, hits insanely hard, great Swords Dance user, just wall break through anything you could possibly dream of. So coming in at number 4 is a Pokemon that I figured a lot of people might think is going to be on this list, and that is Mega Aggron. I have always been a huge proponent of Mega Aggron because it's one of those Pokemon that is just so versatile. It's got this great typing in Pure Steel with an ability and the bulk to just absolutely abuse its stats. So it's got that crazy defense stat. The filter ability lets it take those hits that's super effective, because if you're not hitting Aggron with a super effective attack, you're going to have a hard time breaking through this thing, and Filter makes that even harder. So I really like the Mega Aggron. Not just that, but Aggron's got this insane move pool, just really, really cool stuff that runs. I drafted, I think, in Season 4 of the CSL, and that was a lot of fun. Mega Aggron basically just gave me these insane options when I was prepping for an opponent, as far as do I want to use it offensively and just attack things, and because it's got an 140 attack stat, that's as good as something, almost as good as something like, I don't know, like Conkeldurr, which is known as a really, really hard hitter, and like Aggron is like a Mega that's known for its defensive abilities, but it can hit so hard. So you got this great offensive sets. It also gets a move called Metal Burst, which is like low-key, super underrated, and a really, really, really cool move, because it's like counter and Magic Coat, but with or Magic Coat, Mirror Coat, yeah, it's like Mirror Coat and counter combined. It's not as good as either one specifically, but because Aggron's got such great defenses, and you can invest in the special defense, you can take hits from either side and then just bounce stuff back so hard back at your opponent. It's a great move. I even ran like a Whirlpool Toxic rest set one time, and just this Pokemon is so cool, and I'm such a huge fan of it. It's got great like Dragon Tail, stuff like that. It can run a curse set if you want. Just great Pokemon. It does a lot of different things. It's one of those Pokemon that can adapt to any matchup and just find a way to make it really good in that matchup. Coming in at number 3 is a Pokemon that I drafted in CSL Season 2. So this guy's a throwback, and actually even more of a throwback than that this was the Pokemon I used for I made one team when I first started playing competitive Pokemon on Pokemon Showdown. And it was like, I remember like Mega Pinsir, Greninja, like Chansey, Ferrothorn, and there were Keldeo, I think, or something. I don't remember. Maybe Rotom Wash instead. But it was just, I remember Mega Pinsir being the key point of this team that like really built my competitive Pokemon experience from the ground up. It was a foundation, and I just loved Mega Pinsir, and that's because it's still a really good Pokemon. It's got a great speed stat at 105, but not only does it have the speed stat, but it has a priority move and air late boosted quick attacks that hit really hard. But air late boosted return thing, no, there is not a lot of Pokemon that can eat that up. Even if you have a steel type to switch in, most steel types will get hit really hard by either close combat or earthquake. So it's got the coverage it needs, and you could really easily just run Swords Dance, return, earthquake, or close combat, and like quick attack, and boom, you have an instant sweeper that can go off at a moment's notice. And it's such a good Pokemon, and I've always been a really huge fan of it. I know it's one of those Pokemon that Gen 7 kind of tick downwards, and just in general, a lot of these wall-breaking megas and wall-breaking Pokemon in general just kind of tick down because Z-moves made what they did less valuable. But I definitely still think Mega Pinsir is this awesome Pokemon, and once you can get over that Rock's weakness, but the thing is you're not switching it in once it's Mega, you know what I mean? Usually once you're Megaing, you're getting up your Swords Dance, and you're just trying to dent and blow through teams. So it's not a Pokemon that you're like, oh man, I should have like run more Hazard Flame for, because it's not really 4 times weak if you think about it. It's only 2 times weak to Rocks. And so yeah, just a great Pokemon, and again, like I said, one that I have really, really fond memories with and really shaped how I played competitive Pokemon early on in my career. So coming in at number 2 is Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise is maybe a little bit of a surprise to some people that it got this high on the list, but I drafted Mega Blastoise a couple times here and there, and I've always been kind of like Aggron, a Pokemon that you can really, for the most part, just warp into whatever kind of set you want. It's got the bulk, it's got the power, it's got the move pool to just be warped into a Pokemon that can beat anything in front of it. So it's really good at just like, if you need an emergency blanket check to like a lot of different Pokemon, then Mega Blastoise is always a great fit. And I know in terms of power level, Mega Blastoise is not that high on this list, but it's just a Pokemon that I always really loved, and especially if you're talking about draft format specifically, Mega Blastoise is usually a little lower on people's tier lists, and for that reason, I always thought like I was a huge fan because it was a Pokemon that I thought from like a lower tier could just insanely just warp the game. And that's really valuable. Great move pool. I think what's cool that people sleep on is, yeah, it's got a cool ability that makes special attacks super strong, like that Dark Pulse and Aura Sphere and stuff like that. But it's got a really usable physical move pool too, with things like Earthquake and Ice Punch. So it's got a really good ability to hit on both sides. The bulk to take. It's really, really hard to be like OHKOing Mega Blastoise. So it can, on a free check, it can basically beat anything on a free switch. So it's a really Pokemon that I really think people sleep on. Is really, really dangerous, and I am a huge fan of. But coming in at number 1 on this list is got to be Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham was a Gen 6 absolute classic for me. This is one of the Pokemon when I got really like, okay, I played that Mega Pinsir team like I was talking about, and I played it like for months on end. And I got probably like 1,500, 1,600 on the ladder with that team, and it was like, all right, time to take my play to a level up. And one of the Pokemon that really helped me to do that was Mega Medicham, because Mega Medicham was just the destroyer of souls with how hard this thing hits. I just loved it so much. And when you were in a position where you had Mega Medicham on the field and your opponent thought you were going to switch out to save it, nothing could switch in, and you could just punish players who thought you were going to switch out with high jump kick all day, which led me to do this thing called You Think Mega Medicham Switches Out. I would just, whenever I would click high jump kick on someone on the out switch, I just think, because they thought I was going to switch, it was always so fun. And because of that, I have both fond memories of this Pokemon, but it's also such a good Pokemon. If we want to talk about it from a competitive standpoint, yeah, high jump kick, it's hitting just monstrously hard. Like, even if you resist it, you're probably getting 2-hit KO'd by it. Unless you're like max defense, max HP, naturally bulky, resist, you're probably getting 2-hit KO'd. And even then, you might be getting 2-hit KO'd after Rocks or something. So things do not switch into Mega Medicham. But that said, it also got Drain Punch to heal back up, which is also really nice. It's got obviously the Fire, Ice, Thunder Punch, which just gives it coverage to hit everything. It's got things like Rock Slide, which is cool. A really big thing that it has is Fake Out and Bullet Punch, because together, especially together, but even one-on-one, those moves can really make Mega Metachamp a really competitive revenge killer. And that's really cool to have a wall breaker, but when your wall breaker is not useful in a matchup, it also can turn into a very, very serviceable revenge killer, because you can Fake Out and then Bullet Punch. And if you think your opponent's going to switch out, predicting your Bullet Punch, you know what you can do? You can punish them with a high jump kick, just like I said. So Mega Metachamp's got to take the top spot on this list. Just the fond memories I have with it, and it's a Pokemon that I really like using. I actually drafted it in EBT, so we're going to see how that goes. But until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think your top 5 are. I would love to hear it, and I'll make sure to get back to you on it. And until next video, I will see you guys later. Krakenation, out.